Hi guys, in today's video we are going to learn about Azure Synapse Link. It's a streamlining data analysis service which is recently introduced. Now, in my previous video you must have seen a lot of ways we were, pulling data in Azure Synapse Analytics to process it. But every time we were pulling data, we were either, triggering a pipeline or maybe running a SQL script or running a Spark notebook. This is a new service. So with this Azure Synapse Link, we can enable a real-time access to data resources without even triggering any SQL script or notebook or pipeline. So let's see what it is. Azure Synapse Link is a cloud-based service that streamlines data analysis by enabling real-time access to data sources. This can help in replicating operational data from SQL Server to Azure Synapse SQL Analytic Pool and eliminates the need for creating and running ETL pipelines. This automatically extract incremental changes. Also, for example, there are times where we know that there's some sort of data already in our SQL pool and we try to write a delta logic to pull only the data which is not there in our SQL pool, and we end up writing a lot of complex logic for it. Now with this new thing, we don't need to write any logic. It'll automatically pull in the incremental data. So it's automatically, doing the delta logic for you. So why do we have the need of pulling the data in the SQL pool? SQL pool has powerful distributed query engine which runs high performance analytics, and in terms of performance compared to SQL Server, SQL pool processing time is multiple times faster. So for example, if you have analysis running on SQL Server and maybe it's taking you a day, SQL pool can do it for you in hours. So what is a link connection? So link connection maps a relationship between SQL Server and pool. We can create, manage, pause, monitor, and delete a link connection. Multiple tables can be added or removed in a single link connection. When we pause the link connection, data sync stops and resumes when we start the link connection again. So for example, you feel that now you don't need to pull the data, you can just pause the link connection, and whenever you resume it, it'll start from the place it got paused. So it will again pull the incremental data and not, exploit the resources by pulling all the data again. And it has core counts, which is computer power, which impacts the data and latency. So for example, you allocate less core counts to your link connection. That means there'll be a little data latency, but then if you think that you don't want data analysis, then you'll have to pay more. So the cost will be higher the more core counts you allocate to that. So we'll also see how to create a link connection in Azure Synapse Analytics. Let's get started. So to start with, we'll first create a Azure SQL database. We'll click on create here and click create. Give a name to our SQL database. Stream link synapse. And this is a very important part here to configure your database. So it only works with service tier greater than S3. So we'll select standard, and the DTU units are supposed to be more than 100. So I'm selecting 200 here. And click on review and create. So this is going to be the monthly price, but you can anytime come here and scale down the database so that you don't get charged that much. And you can see it's getting deployed. It might take few minutes to get deployed. So the deployment is complete. Let's go to the resource. And as you can see here, the pricing tier is standard S4. And when we click over it, it gives us an option to edit it also. So you can edit it when you're not using probably. But for Azure Synapse Link, this has to be the minimum requirement. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So let's now create a link. So we'll go to the Azure portal and we'll go to our Synapse Analytics. Open this and go to our manage section and we'll create a new SQL pool. So I'll be creating SQL pool demo link and review and create. In the case of SQL pool also, here after it gets deployed, there's an option which comes and gives you the opportunity to pause it when you're not using it, so that you don't get charged. You see it's deploying right now. So the SQL pool is online now. Now we'll go to our integrate section. Click on integrate, click on plus, click on link connection. And in the source type, we'll select Azure SQL database. And since we do not have a linked service right now, we'll create new and select the other details. I'll select the subscription, server name, and the SQL database is stream link synapse, which I just created. And you can use your SQL authentication and put the username and password, and you can also, for security reason, you can also save the password in your Azure Key Vault and fetch it from there. I'm just directly putting the password here because it's a demo session, and then I'll click on test connection to see if it's connecting. So the connection is successful, and I'll create. So this link service is successfully created and attached to the link connection. You see it's asking you the tables right now, tables which we want to fetch. And right now we just created our SQL server and there's no table in it. So let's log into the SQL server and create some tables first. So this is my SQL server. I'll go to the database and this is my server name. Now from where do you get server name? You go to your Azure SQL database. So this is my database. And here you will find the server name. Just copy the server name and put it here. And also if you can see, if you can go to the server admin name is also there. This is the username. So copy this username as well. Paste here and put your password. I just logged into my server. When I expand my databases, I should see the new database, and then I'll click here and click on new query. So this document is pointing to my new database. What I'll do here is I'll create some new tables. So I already have the queries written. I'm creating a user info table with all these fields, and make sure every table you create has a primary key, because that is also a constraint in a link connection. If you don't have a primary key, it will not let you create a link connection. So I just created this, and then I'll insert some rows into this. Execute, and you can see 7 rows got inserted. Now I'll create one more table. So I'm creating employee details table, which also has a primary key. So I'm inserting execute, and then I'm again inserting around 7 rows in the table. Now let's see how the data looks in both these two tables. So see, this is how the data I've inserted in these two tables. So I'll go here again. Click on a plus, link connection, click on my linked service, and you should see automatically the table names getting populated here. See, these were the two tables we created. I would want my link connection to pull both the tables. Click on continue, and the target pool, you have to put the SQL pool which you just created, and then click on continue. And see, I was telling you, right? The more the number of driver cores, the less would be the latency and more will be the price. So just for demo purposes, I'll select at least 4 driver core, and here it gives you two options. Either you can schedule the pull or you can make it continuous. For me, I like for it to be continuous. So I'll click OK, and you can see this link connection just got created. What you can do is you can click on start. So it lets you publish before you start. So it's publishing now, and the link connection also started. So you can see the link connection got started, and this gives you an option to stop the link connection, or you can pause it also. You can also monitor the link connection by clicking on this link. So in monitor tab, it takes you to the link connection, and here you can see it's replicating. And to see if the tables are created or not, we go to our data section. And when we see in SQL database, we'll see the name of our SQL pool is there, and we expand it. In the tables section, we can see these two tables are there. And then we can also query it by right clicking and selecting on top 100 rows from here, and see the data is coming. I had inserted 7 rows, and you can see 7 rows here. Similarly, in user info, if I select top 100, I can see these rows are there. And then I can probably do my analysis if I want to put some fancy charts or bars or anything like that. And then I can save my analysis here also. I can run all the SQL queries here using SQL scripts and then save my analysis. So this is all for Azure Synapse Link. Please let me know if you have questions, and stay connected.